Howdy, howdy. Welcome on in to the pre-show before the free show, where everything's going smooth already.
Everything's going great. There are no notes. Production has been clean so far.
Yeah.
And, yeah. I'm here. Pickle, you're here, right?
Fact.
You're here. If only there's someone else here. As you can see, way too much of the... I like how we are, like, barely halfway.
Yeah, I'll fix it. Keep talking.
There's a lot of room up here. Very roomy. Greg Powers of Next Level Athlete, our recruiting analyst, is here. Hello, Greg Powers.
What's up?
How are you, man?
Good.
Good. How was your time in College Station?
Awesome.
Yeah?
Really got to meet with some good coaches down there. I'd like to hear some of those top guys talk about what their team's going to be looking at like in the upcoming season.
Yes. I think that is one of the good things about it. But enough of that. You and I, I don't want to...
Oh, no.
I don't want to toss around the word courage. And I don't want to toss around the word hero. But you and I did survive 7+ hours in the car with Ashley Pickle and Mallory Hartley.
I think that's a really easy thing to do. Mallory worked for like the whole drive down there. Like she didn't say a word.
Until her song came on. Until her song came on.
True. That's a true point.
And she just looked up. She goes, I'm done working. I'm here to party.
Yeah.
But she didn't say party. She said the F word.
Mm-hmm.
And then party. Fun and party. It was, we did have a lot of time in the car. We learned a lot about the type of music that Pickle is into, most notably Pitbull.
Everyone knows it. This is not breaking news.
Okay.
I'm a big Pitbull fan, and everyone knows that. And I don't care.
Yeah, I guess that's true. You have been to 3 shows?
Yeah. Trish has been to more. She might be a bigger Pitbull fan than I am, and that's hard to do.
I did get a follow-up. It's follow-up Friday here on Texas Football Today. Here on Follow-Up Friday. You may remember last Thursday we wished both of our parents, my father and your mother, a happy birthday. You may also remember that my father was jumping out of a plane.
Yes.
I can report.
It was successful.
He did it. Because I called him. I did call him, and he didn't answer the first time. But
which is slightly troubling.
But my
and then
dad
Powers
is
was
also,
Powers was like, dude, there's no way he's done yet.
Yeah.
You called him pretty early on.
You called him like 43 minutes into the adventure.
Yeah, I guess
he probably hadn't even gotten to like coasting. He probably hadn't even stepped foot in the plane yet, to be honest.
That's probably true. You know what? Dave Henigan's just out here getting slandered on Twitter by Dave Henigan. But he did land the first time he did it, because he's doing it every 10 years. Every birthday that ends in a 0. He like tweaked his knee on the landing. He said this time it was a much smoother landing, jumping out of the plane. But I still wouldn't do it. My little brother did it, and he said, with him, and he said, I'm glad I did it. I'm never doing it again. It doesn't appeal to me. I understand there are people who are thrill seekers. That ain't me. I feel like I'm talking to myself here. You guys
because
okay?
I'm confused. If you do it and you like it, like I feel like if you don't want to do it again, then you did not actually enjoy it. That's kind of my take on that.
I don't think that's the case.
You didn't like it enough to want to do it again, so it was kind of like a...
Would you want to do the 2020 football season again?
No.
But
I didn't enjoy it.
I liked football.
Well, yes, to a certain degree, but no.
I think there's plenty of things out there that you want to do once and never do again.
Yeah, and I just think that means that you didn't super like it.
The Super Bowl was one of those things that I don't want to do again.
Buddy. Oh, buddy.
This is such a what a weekend this was.
Yeah, I know. You got to go to College Station with your best friends, and then you got to watch the Super Bowl with the Cincinnati Bengals, the Bengals.
Like I told you, it's just when you're a Bengals fan, you're just happy that they were there.
Yeah, I know one person here was rooting for you.
Yeah, me.
It wasn't me. I was ambivalent to the Super Bowl. The one thing I think is important though, who had 3-0 in the Squares game?
Rob won like twice.
Yeah, I was going to say they cleaned up because it was 13-10 and 23-20, so they won half and full.
Yeah.
That was the first thing I thought, because I did not win my buddy's charity one. It would have been the third. Did I tell you this?
No.
So I think I've talked about my friend's charity up there in Chicago, Emma's Memory, in honor of their daughter who passed away due to a brain tumor. And they started a charity, and one of the things they do every year is they do a Squares game, Super Bowl Squares. And it's a substantive buy-in. The idea is that they take it, they split the pot, half it goes to the charity, the other half goes in the pool. My wife and I won it the past 2 years. Like 2 years in a row we won it.
Clean sweeps?
We won 1 year we won one quarter and then the final, and then the second year we won just the final. So we won the big pot at the end. And there's nothing more awkward than winning a charity Squares game, because it's like, oh, I shouldn't keep this money, should I? Right. I think what we ended up doing was like we donated like half of it back to them, but we did, took a little stuff. But we were, if the Rams had missed the extra point and won 22-20, we would have won again. And we were thinking about that, which at that point I feel like we would have been accused of rigging it.
Yeah, I don't think you ever want to be accused of rigging a charity event. That feels like you're not supposed to rig any type of competition. Yeah. Because that's not good. But rigging a charity is like extremely sinful.
Yeah, that probably gets you straight to the HE double hockey.
Every charity golf tournament I've been in, I've always felt like somebody put the closest to the pin, like extremely close.
Yeah.
Like how did they get it that close to the pin? That didn't happen.
Yeah. But then again,
shame on you.
But there are good people who are good at golf. Like Squares is completely random. You know what I mean? It's like a lottery.
You don't have to be good at Squares.
No, there's no way to be good at Squares, or is there? I have won two times, 3 Super Bowls. So maybe I'm just super good at Squares.
You let people pick their numbers. I think that.
Only you don't let them pick their number. It's double-blind. Anyway, I'm not going to get into how squares work. Get Greg out of here. Hit the theme expo. Pickle! Hit the arrow sign. Yes, y'all! From the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Mothership here in beautiful Lewisville, Texas, it's Texas Football Today, a program on the internet that's damn glad to be here. My name's Greg Tepper. I'm the managing editor of Dave Campbell's Texas Football magazine, TexasFootball.com, a corresponding website. Thank you for spending part of your day with us. Whether you're watching us live on TexasFootball.com, on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitch, on Twitter, all of the socials. Can you go live on Instagram?
Our old girl might literally tell us to get out if we...
You can.
I don't know if she can. Yeah.
Got it. Or you'll listen to us on the podcast, which you can subscribe to on the podcast vendor of your choice. By the way, rate us if you haven't. I'm supposed to tell you to that. It's been like 3 years since I've asked you to do that. Go rate and review the podcast if you like it. Either way.
Only if you like it. Don't give us a bad review.
Give us a bad review. Yeah, to be clear, don't give us a bad review.
It's 5 stars or bust.
Yeah, I was going to say. Either way, thank you for doing your part to support your local mediocre internet show. Sitting over there at the helm today, making us sound good. She's the touch of the door.
Buddy.
She's Ashley Pickle.
I got my Swole Bee shirt on. I know that's what you were eyeballing. Oh, are you serious? No way.
Oh,
no way. Oh, God.
You know what? It was inevitable.
Eventually,
we were
it would
going
happen.
to wear the same shirt to work today.
Oh, no.
I will keep mine zipped up.
Okay, thank God. Yeah, I can't be matching you. That's gross.
No, that's tough. But anyway.
You can't even see mine, though, to be honest.
Wow.
That's tough.
What a time.
What a time to be
Shout out
alive.
Jared Hunt.
Anyway. Sitting to my right is Greg Powers, the next level athlete.
Way to not wear your Swole Bee shirt.
Always riding for the brand.
I know you are. You're pretty good at that. I am too, though. Look at that. Today is Wednesday, February 16th, 2022, 281 days till Thanksgiving. All right, do you want somebody who's turning 64, 63, 47, or 32 today?
64.
Happy birthday to LeVar Burton.
I should have said a number that you didn't say.
Yeah, you should have.
That would have been a lot funnier.
Happy birthday to LeVar Burton, who turns 64 today.
And thank you, LeVar, reading Rainbow.
I need to go back and watch that as an adult. I think it's trippier than I think it is.
I don't know what it's like now, but I definitely watched it when I was a kid.
I have no idea what y'all are talking about.
I'll tell you when you're older.
That's fair.
Episode 1333. Oh, some numbers are the same. On today's show, folks, This Week in Recruiting with Greg Powers, next level athlete. We're going to talk all things recruiting across the Lone Star State. And then back half of the show, Greg Powers watched me interview Dave Henigan.
I saw Henigan's tweet, and I respect his tweet. It's accurate.
I don't appreciate Coach Henigan just flaming me on Twitter. Anyway, we'll talk with Dave Henigan, the head coach of Denton Ryan Raiders, of course, one of the preeminent programs in Texas high school football, who got quite a realignment surprise with Alito in their district. We'll hear from Dave Henigan coming up here at the back half of the program. Do we have first four through the door?
We sure do. It was Jake McNeil, Daniel Agnew, Aaron Arbuckle, and Aaron Flynn, who said, "Hit the merch music."
That's right.
Boy is pumped up.
TexasFootball.com/merch. Do we have the graphics still?
You know what? Maybe.
No. Okay, never mind. TexasFootball.com/merch to get your Texas high or Dave Campbell's Texas football merch if you're into that kind of thing, which you should be. Thanks to everybody who made it a big day yesterday. The orders were pouring in, and there was some pent up demand for merch. I know.
Hashtag Fanny Pack Nation.
I don't think anybody bought a fanny pack. I can look actually.
Someone better.
I can look. I will look, and in final thoughts, I will tell you if somebody bought a fanny pack. And if nobody's bought a fanny pack, go buy a fanny pack right now and prove Pickle right. That would make me very mad.
Yes, and we all want that.
I'm Greg Tepper. That's Greg Powers, and this is This Week
in Recruiting.
It's This Week in Recruiting with Greg Powers of Next Level Athlete. Follow him on Twitter at DPowerScout. Follow Next Level Athlete on Twitter at Next Level D1. See his fine work at TexasFootball.com/recruiting. And this is brought to you, of course, by our good chicken friends at Chicken Express. Chicken Express! We saw the flying chicken logo in College Station.
We did.
Yep. There's a Chicken Express right off of 6 in College Station, and it's got the... I understand what they're doing, and their branding is very good, like the yellow and the red and stuff like that. But honestly, I think if they just put out... Let's put it this way. If they put out merch with just the flying chicken on it,
absolutely,
I would not be wearing the Swole B shirt.
No.
I'd be wearing this. I would have more
Swole
options.
chicken shirt.
Yeah, the flying chicken shirt would be nails.
The flying chicken shirt would be pretty good. So, Chicken Express, call me. It's This Week in Recruiting with Greg Powers, Next Level Athlete. A lot to get to. We're going to start in the Houston area with our prospect on the rise. Our prospect on the rise is, you guys are never going to believe this, but Spring Westfield has got a good player in the trenches. I, for one, am shocked. Spring Westfield's offensive guard, Raekwon Bell, picked up an offer from Baylor this week. He already had a few in-state offers from places like Houston, North Texas, UTSA, an out-of-state offer from Colorado State. You saw him at the Next Level Athlete Top 100 Showcase in Houston, where he was the offensive line MVP, so I can't imagine you're particularly surprised that a program like Baylor is starting to catch on.
And I think he'll continue to add offers. What I really like about Raekwon Bell's talents is that he is athletic enough at 6'2", 6'3", 290 pounds to be a left tackle, but has the power and downfield blocking ability to probably project more as a college guard. And I think he fits into these new, well, I guess they're not new anymore. Shouldn't say that anymore. Fits into college offenses because he's so athletic. When he slides inside, he can make downfield blocks. He's not a liability in pass protection. Kind of brings a little bit of everything to the table. And it wouldn't surprise me at all if he could also center snap and be a good center down the line as well. Just a versatile guy who will probably play inside in college and continue to pick up a lot of momentum. One thing that I love about Spring Westfield, whether they're offensive or defensive linemen, they play with a chip on their shoulder, and that's a consistent trait that all these guys have. Baylor's going to be a big offer for him, but you can never discount Houston, the Houston Cougars, when it comes to a talent from that particular high school. Yeah,
Spring Westfield, of course, no stranger to putting out big-time prospects, and here's a guy who is he's 2023, right? So he's going to be a senior this year, likely to be the anchor of that offensive line there at Westfield moving forward, but a guy to keep an eye on. And generally, what we've found, and one thing to keep an eye on is that if programs like, it feels to me that there's like these. This is going to sound disrespectful, but it sounds like there's a path of momentum in offers that the hipster guys, Jeff Traylor, right, and company, they offer you, and then a program like Baylor offers you, and they're like, well, here you go. Here's a P5 offer. Houston's a P5 offer in my mind, but here's a P5 offer, right? And then at that point, the floodgates start to open. It seems like we might be at that point.
I agree, and Baylor does a really good job to me of evaluating offensive line talent. The last two classes, particularly underneath of Dave Aranda's guidance there, I thought that they've done a really good job recruiting those positions, and so when they do extend an offer to an offensive lineman, I pay particularly close notice.
That's our prospect on the rise. Let's now matriculate over to our commit of the week.
Yeah.
And it is with a heavy heart that I announce that Texas Tech is at it again. Texas Tech picked up 3 commitments this week. Mansfield safety Brendan Jordan, Lubbock Trinity Christian athlete Marcus Ramon Edwards, and the guy that we're going to list as our commit of the week, Clarendon athlete Jamari Davis. Jamari Davis is a guy that I know he's one of those off-the-beaten-path type guys.
Right.
This feels like the quintessential Texas Tech under Joey McGuire commit. Small high school, big-time talent, that part of the world, and Texas Tech was able to close the deal and get the commitment from Jamari Davis.
Well, we talked a little bit more specifically about Brendan Jordan last week. Mm-hmm. He was our recruit of the week because he had announced a top 3, and we kind of went out on a limb and thought that Texas Tech was in a good position for him. But looking at the trio of commitments and just watching their tape, breaking this down, Jamari Davis looked really good on tape.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a guy who is very athletic for a 6'2", 200-pounder. I think that he was the offensive MVP
That sounds right.
Yeah, and then also earned all-district or all-state honors on defensive side of the football as well. So, I mean, he had a lot of accolades on both sides of the ball. I particularly like him as a defensive player, just kind of watching these highlights. Once he's able to settle in on one side of the ball, I think that his ceiling might be higher there. But certainly a guy who makes people miss in the open fields, big enough to run over you, and has the type of speed to completely dominate the level of competition that he plays against. So this was a huge pickup to me for Texas Tech, and a guy who I think will continue to command attention as the recruiting process plays itself out. This is a guy that other people want. Both Brennan Jordan and Jamari Davis are those type of guys. And, just to talk a little bit about Marcus Ramon Edwards.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. This is the guy from Lubbock Trinity Christian, of course, and there, another seal the borders guy. If you got a great player in Lubbock, if you're at Texas Tech, you need to make sure you get him. This strikes me as what do you know about this kid? What stands out to him, about him?
Well, first and foremost, he's used predominantly on the offensive side of the football there, 6'4", 200 pounds, and he's been recruited to play defense at Texas Tech, a guy who will probably, I think, ultimately settle into that defensive end, outside linebacker role. I mean, they even mentioned safety because he's so athletic, I think, as it relates to his recruitment. But I think at the end of the day, he's a guy who's going to bulk up and be in the box.
Yeah.
And pretty high ceiling player, too, because he is very athletic for a guy that's 6'4", 200, and he kind of sticks out like a sore thumb on tape because he's dominating the competition. I think he went for close to 1,800 yards and 26 touchdowns to help lead his team to a state title appearance.
Yeah, a name to keep an eye on, maybe off your radar a little bit, but a savvy pickup there in Marcus Ramon Edwards. And one thing that I think is interesting, I've read a little bit about his story, and it sounds like that is a bit of a that's a bit of a carryover from Joey McGuire and James Blanchard's days at Baylor. That they were hot on him at Baylor. They go over to Tech. They get to bring their books with them. You know what I mean? They get to take it's an open note quiz, and so they were able to bring him over and get him to lock in at Texas Tech. I imagine that being local certainly helps there as well.
One thing that's jumping out to me, and that staff there is making it apparently clear, is they're going to concentrate on recruiting West Texas.
Yeah,
and make it a priority, and that they're able to try to keep some of these guys at home. And I think the more that you do that, the more successful you'll be long term. So, I mean, they're starting to put the roadmap down for what it's going to look like underneath of Joe McGuire and his staff there. And it looks like it's going to be a very heavy presence recruiting the Lone Star State, which is great.
Yeah, and I don't think necessarily any surprise. We're talking This Week in Recruiting with Greg Powers, Next Level Athlete, on Texas Football Today. Get involved in the conversation, #TF Today. Let's go to our underclassmen of the week. Our underclassmen of the week going out east to Dangerfield, where their soon-to-be junior cornerback, Aaron Hampton, has committed. He had offers from Baylor, TCU, Houston, Tech, etc. He has committed to Texas. He is a national recruit, a big get here for them. They call him Bubba out there in Dangerfield. Yeah,
I really like this one. And he picked up his first offer from TCU, I think, about the midway point through this last, the 2021 season. And I think it's his prowess on the defensive side of the football at cornerback that really started to open all these schools' eyes, especially as it relates to him. He's a national type of recruit at that position, very aggressive, great ball skills, but there at Dangerfield, he's a two-way star. He's a guy who also flips over and is very active on the offensive side of the ball. We saw him at the state 7-on-7 where his team was very good, and he was one of the key components within it. So this is a guy who brings it all the time, and another one of these guys who I guess I don't naturally classify Dangerfield as a smaller school, but
yeah, it's weird. It's the problem is they put out so many big time recruits,
right?
Like they put out they put out recruits the caliber of a 5A 6A program,
right?
But they are they're a 3A program.
Yeah, I think so. So I mean, but he's a big time talent at a 3A school, and I think that this is a big get for Texas. He was a one-time Baylor commit, so decommitted from the Bears and decided to stay at home and go with the Texas Longhorns after he picked up an offer from UT. So I think this is a quality get, and a quality get early. I mean, you're still talking about almost 2 full years before he'll put his name in ink on a letter of intent. So a lot of time to play out in this one. But Texas is certainly in a great position here, gaining a non-binding verbal commitment from Aaron.
Non-binding verbal commitment.
Yep, from Aaron Hampton, and gave he's told our guy Frazier he's always been a Texas fan when he interviewed him earlier this year, and I think that is something that stuck out in this recruitment.
Let's round it all out with our recruit of the week. We're going to get real Denton Ryan heavy for the remainder of the show. Let's talk about Anthony Hill, the 2023 outside linebacker from Denton Ryan, a menace defensively, I think is a way to put it. He has announced a top 6. Those top 6: Alabama, Miami, Oklahoma, USC, and Texas A&M. This
Pretty
guy
good.
is, I think an undisputed 5-star, and certainly in that range of best prospect in the state in the class 2023, and a guy who I think is going to be a class maker for pretty much anybody.
Yeah, and there was a lot of different options I think we could have considered for recruit of the week, but when your natural 5-star, 6'3", 220-pound linebacker decides to announce his top 6, then I think that he, inherently wins out on that. And yeah, I think schools that I'm keeping a close eye on here, and this one's, let me tell you, this one's not over with, right? Like, a lot of times I look at these top 6 lists and I think, you know what, he's announcing a top 6 because he knows where he wants to go.
Yeah.
And that happens a lot. That happens a lot wherever they'll say, I'm going to announce my top 3 or top 5 or whatever, because I have a pretty good idea of where I'm actually going to sign, and now it's time to, push this process forward.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a natural kind of order of things, and for a guy like him, another part of it is, let's be real. If he wanted 130 FBS offers, he could have 130 FBS offers, right? He can have an offer from Bowling Green. Like, he just has to call them and say, hey, can I have an offer? You know what I mean? By narrowing it down, I think people may not necessarily recognize or remember that by narrowing it down and saying, well, I'm going to get it to a top 6, you do kind of, people aren't going to stop calling you, but they might stop calling you as frequently as they otherwise would. And so he's going to be able to maybe take a closer eye to all 6 of these programs and figure out what's going to be the best fit for him. I know that pretty much any of these programs would be thrilled to have him. I'll say that much.
Yeah, no doubt. And when you're a 5-star type of guy, too, and you have all these offers, it's not a terrible idea to start to limit the media attention that's on you. So now he's going to have 6 programs reporters trying to get a hold of him every day versus 30. So that will hopefully help him limit his focus towards a certain set of schools, and then be able to put a lot of concentration onto his senior season for a Billy Ryan team that's going to have a ton of talent coming back next year and be poised, I think, to make a state championship run. We'll hear more from Coach Henigan on his thoughts on that a little bit here in a minute. But
he just out-segued you.
What pro?
I think that he is the leader on a defense that has a good shot at winning a state title in 2022.
I tend to agree with you. He's Greg Powers, Next Level Athlete. Follow him on Twitter at GPower. Follow Next Level Athlete on Twitter.
Accept your defeat.
Next Level. There's nothing I can do. There's nothing. I've been out-segued. Follow him on Twitter at GPower Scout, Next Level Athlete D1, and see his fine work, texasfootball.com/recruiting. Powers, appreciate your time. We will do it again next week.
See y'all then.
We are Texas Football Today. We're here every weekday at noon on texasfootball.com, talking football in the Lone Star State. You can follow us on Twitter at DCTF, like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/Dave Campbell's, and, of course, see us at texasfootball.com. Do we have the Dairy Max thing?
We sure do.
Reminder to vote for the Dairy Max Built by Nature Assistant Coach of the Year on texasfootball.com. You alone get to decide who will come home with the most prized award in assistant coaching in the state of Texas. Go to texasfootball.com and vote all the way up until March 1. Unlimited amount of votes. Go to texasfootball.com to vote for the Dairy Max Built by Nature Assistant Coach of the Year. While we were in College Station, we bothered.
You bothered.
A number of coaches. We're a team here, Pickle. We win and we lose as a team.
I don't know about that.
We caught up with a number of coaches. One of them, the head coach of the Denton Ryan Raiders, Coach Dave Henigan, who stopped by with us. We chatted a little bit about their district alignment, now in there with Lido, the high standards there at the program, and being QB dad.
Yeah.
Which is now...
Not QB dad/coach.
Yeah, exactly. Just full-on fan, which he had an interesting thing to say. Here's our conversation with Dave Henigan and Denton Ryan here on Texas Football Today.
time. Yep, we're good. In 3, 2. Dave Campbell's Texas football here in College Station at the Lone Star Clinic. Here with the head coach of the Denton Ryan Raiders and one of the speakers tonight I read in the program. It's Coach Dave Henigan. Are you nervous about tonight?
I am not. No, I'm not nervous at all. This is one of the best clinics, though. You know, I've had the good fortune to speak here 3 times over the years. This one and Angelo and anytime Hardy's involved, it's a good one. So looking forward to it. You know, hopefully somebody can learn something from us. Not sure they can, but maybe.
I don't know. It seems like you've been doing a lot of winning and you got a lot of opportunities to teach some people how to do that. Let's go back to 2021 because it's funny that the standards at Ryan are so high that I think 99% of Texas high school football programs would look at what you guys did in 2021 and say that was an unbelievable year. But I also know you guys are a championship program. So I'm interested, when you take a look back on 2021, how do you feel about it?
Well, you know, it's not fair to those kids to not say 12-2 and losing one game in overtime to Geyer and one game to a great College Station team by 5 points to say that it wasn't a good year. So it was a good year. But you're right. The standard at Ryan is to win every game, every year. And that's just the reality. It's, you know, it's part of it if you coach there, if you play there. And so, you know, everyone was a little bit disappointed, even though it was, by all accounts, a great year.
And so how do you use that as fuel? It's interesting because you guys haven't had a whole lot of things a whole lot of losses to necessarily motivate you guys recently. So is this something you guys talk about, how last year ended, or is it, you know, where you're putting one foot in front of the other?
No, I mean, I don't think we ever talk about last year, whether we win it all or don't win it all, you know, and so we move on. Every year's different. Every team's different. You know, we certainly have some lessons we learned from last year that we've addressed without necessarily talking about them. Just from a leadership standpoint, or coach a little bit better, or have a little bit better plan, or be a little bit more physical, whatever it is, you take those lessons and you try and bring them into the next year, but we don't use them as fuel to the fire at all.
All right. So realignment was last week. I don't know if you heard. You guys get thrown into a district surprise. Aledo, the Colony, kind of a really good district, kind of going along that Fort Worth corridor. We talked with Tim Buchanan on our show when the draw it came out. I'm interested your perspective on the draw.
I was surprised. I mean, I figured we'd go back to Region 1, you know, just because the way the thing was happening, and the Frisco schools, as much as anything, having their own district. But I was surprised we went with Aledo, to be honest with you, that far west. But, the reality is we're going to have to play those guys at some point to get where we want to get, and vice versa. And it is what it is. You play who's in front of you. There's been some years where people have questioned the strength of our district schedule, and there's this year where I feel like we have a really good district from top to bottom, starting with Aledo. But there's a bunch of other playoff teams in that district, almost all of them. And so it should be a tremendous challenge. But our kids have a healthy respect for all of them, but our kids don't fear anybody either.
That is for darn sure. Who's the guy on your staff who's the realignment nerd, who's getting the pins out in the spreadsheets? Who's the one on your staff? Because I know every staff has one.
It's probably our director of football ops, Jeff Gott. I mean, he's kind of that guy. He's kind of the nerd of he's my top guy. If I ever got fired, he'd be the first guy I hire at my next job. He's that important. But we don't really pay attention to it, to be honest with you.
All right, and finally, I got to ask you. We've been talking to Coach Henigan. I want to talk to Dad Henigan because your son, freshman All-American there at Memphis in his first year. What was it like watching him out there on the big stage there with Memphis and doing big things?
Man, it was awesome. We're so proud of him and all our kids. But him, he's a talented kid. People didn't understand how talented he was, to be honest with you. But he's a really hard worker, and he's laser focused. And to see it pay off for him, on Saturdays is a credit to him. So it was a lot of fun. It was interesting. I had this conversation yesterday. I've always been a participant. I've never, ever been a fan, ever in my whole life. I've either been playing or coaching all my life. And so this year is the first opportunity we had to be a fan, first of all, it is a lot easier to be a fan, just for the record. And honestly, I'm not sure it's more fun. I mean, we had a great time, and so we're proud of them. We got an opportunity to go to most of the games, and so it's been fun.
Nobody's yelling at you.
That's right. It's a lot easier to second guess when you're up there.
Coach, appreciate your time.
Thanks so much for
there
watching
he is,
that
Dave
video.
Henigan. the head coach at the Denton Ryan Raiders, joining us there in College Station at the Lone Star Clinic. Appreciate his time chatting with us. And yeah, I think we've now gotten both sides of that Denton Ryan and Aledo district.
Because we had Tim Buchanan on actual realignment day. That was instant reaction.
Yeah, that was instant reaction. And I think both of them were like, you know what, we were going to probably have to go through one another eventually. So they're going to bow up and do it. It's going to be a lot of fun. We appreciate Coach Dave Henigan hopping on with us. Let's go over to Ashley Pickle for America's second favorite segment. Final thoughts.
All right, you said that you were going to give me a number.
I have some analytics.
All right, let's
crunch the
Math
numbers.
Wednesday.
Math Wednesday. The number of fanny packs that have been ordered at texasfootball.com/merch.
Mm-hmm.
The number of fanny packs is 0. Nobody's bought a
Shame
fanny.
on you, people.
Nobody's bought a fanny pack yet.
You people. Shame.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well,
Not my fault.
Mallory and I will get fanny packs and we'll wear them to the games next fall, and everyone's going to be going, oh my God, where did you get your fanny pack? And we're going to be like, we tried to tell y'all.
TexasFootball.com/merch.
We tried to tell you.
No. The best-selling thing is, of course, I think, like everybody understands, the Tap and Step T-shirt.
I don't think that's true.
That's not
I think
true.
we've sold more pint glasses than we have.
We have.
than we have
Which
Tap and Step.
honestly,
Hell yeah.
I think we could have guessed that. I think we all could have guessed that the pint glasses were going to be a winner with
That's
you
what's up.
people. TexasFootball.com/merch. Go ahead and check that out. That's going to do it for us. Thanks for spending a little bit of your day with us. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, Instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. And, of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. Thanks again to Greg Powers, our recruiting analyst, and to Denton Ryan head coach Dave Henigan for being our guests. For Ashley Pickle, I'm Greg Tepper. Vince Young, please meet your Player of the Year trophy. Ooh, I hit my coffee cup. That was almost a disaster.
Oh, no. And it's glass,
It's like
too.
my good coffee cup. I think it's tempered glass, so I don't think it would break. But
well,
anyway,
we can find out.
let's not find out. We'll see you tomorrow on Texas Football Today.